Good morning, everybody. Last week was quite an interesting week for me. Was it an interesting week for you? Because like I've explained many times, what happens when you start on this journey of self-discovery, you start to do a bit of mental house cleaning, and that's what we did last week. And that's what we're going to continue to do this week. But this week is going to be really, really beautiful and really, really powerful. This week, what we're going to be looking at is we are going to be looking at how to love yourself more. But before we do, I'm going to do something different today. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to share this video. I'm going to share it on my personal page, and I'm going to share it on the Thrive Being You Facebook group. And let me quickly do that. And if you can do the same thing, that would be great. If you look at the left-hand side of your screen, you will see that there is a share button. So I'm going to share it to my personal timeline. And I'm going to share it to my Thrive Being You Facebook group. And if you can do the same thing, guys, if you can share on your personal pages, that would be great, because this week is going to transform your life. It's literally going to transform your life. You might have seen this beautiful mug that my friend bought me. She bought it from Hema, and it says, it's backwards there, but it says, "You are truly fabulous. You are truly fabulous. You're amazing." Do you know that? Do you feel that who you are is truly, truly incredible? Or do you feel that there is so much wrong with you that you're not worthy? You see, if it reinforced anything for me, it reinforced all of the negative views that I have about myself, all of the views that I have that I am not good enough. And that's what we're going to do this week, is we're going to spend 5 days, guys, 5 days looking at how we can love, accept, honor, and approve of ourselves more. Because we don't as people, we don't. The first thing that we reactively think is that I am wrong. There is something wrong with me. Isn't that right? If a stimulus happens, the first reactive thought that we often have is that I am wrong, I've done something wrong, it's my fault. But imagine if we could reactively think who we are is good enough, that we're trying the best that we know how. Wouldn't our world look very differently? And this is why acceptance and self-love is the key to living in freedom. When you truly, truly love all of who you are, then you can be free, then you can truly live in freedom. And that is what we're going to be looking at this week. So, what I'd like you to do this week, every single day, is I would like you to look at yourself in the mirror, and I encouraged you to do so last week, and I'm going to encourage you to do the same. And I'd like you to look at yourself in the mirror, and I would like you to say your name. So I would say Connie. I love, honor, accept, and approve of all of who you are. If you have your mobile phones in front of you, take out the selfie part of your phone, pretend you're taking a photo and look at yourself in your phone, look at yourself in your handheld mirror, when you're on the metro, when you're on the tube, when you're catching your reflection as you're going past a shop front. Look at yourself in your eyes and say, Connie, or say your name, say, I love, honor, accept, and approve of all of who you are. And notice what comes up for you. Notice what comes up for you. Are you thinking, yeah, sure, I don't believe you. What are those thoughts that come up for you when you look at yourself in the mirror? Are they loving thoughts, or are they thoughts of criticism? Are they loving thoughts, or are they thoughts of criticism? Last week I had an interesting week where I felt that I was constantly in the wrong. So I had a reflection. Somebody said something to me, and I went straight into that space where I thought that who I wasn't good enough. I went into that space of, well, I am wrong. You see, this is what often our source belief is. You remember last week we were talking about how, okay, let's remind ourselves, shall we? Last week we were talking about how there is only one original source belief. It is that you are either good enough or you're not good enough. So what we spoke about was the following, wasn't it? We said that there is a stimulus, somebody says something. So somebody said something to me, and I went straight into, my body felt that feeling of lack of worth. My body felt that feeling of, oh, I have done something wrong. You see, now when you feel that you have done something wrong, you have stepped into that space. When you feel like you have done something wrong, you have stepped into that space of criticizing yourself. You have stepped into that space of not loving yourself. And when we don't love ourselves, that is where the disconnect comes in. That's where the disconnect between living in freedom comes in. When we don't love ourselves, when we take on that belief system that we think that we are in the wrong. So somebody said something to me, and I felt that who I am was not good enough. Now, as we know that an external belief system will create a feeling in the body, and that feeling in the body then triggers the memory of a belief system that you have about yourself. Now, the belief system, the more you think that belief system, the more it gets programmed in the mind, and the more it's programmed in the mind, the more that energy manifests within the body. So the more you think it, the more that vibration manifests in the physical, and that physical manifestation then becomes dis-ease. It becomes disease. So all the dis-ease within the body actually comes from your thoughts. When you think negatively about yourself, it starts to create a negative vibrational build-up within the body. And that build-up within the body then manifests as disease, dis-ease in the body. So what are those thoughts that you are having that are criticizing you? What are those reflections that you are still having that mean you are not good enough? You see, the problem on the surface is never really the real problem, is it? Because remember, we have the original source belief, the feeling, the belief system. So the belief system that you have is not really the problem, the core problem. The problem that is manifesting on the surface level, you don't have enough money. Last week, we spent a whole week looking at awareness. And you wrote down all the areas where you are not happy with yourself. All of the reflections where you were out of alignment with living in freedom. Okay? So what you would have seen maybe is that the problem is not really the real problem. The real problem is that we feel that we are not good enough. So let's take it one step further. It's not that we don't feel we're not good enough. It's that we don't love ourselves. Yes, I know that I don't think I'm good enough. But here's now the powerful next step. We need to learn to love ourselves. We need to learn to love our human experience. We need to learn to be grateful for our feelings, honoring our thoughts. Do you love yourself? Do you honor yourself? Do you approve of yourself? Do you approve and love of all of who you are? The negative thoughts that you have, the way your body looks like, your financial situation. Because when you're in the space of love, you can manifest a life that lives where you are living in freedom. But it all starts with loving and approving of yourself. Loving and approving of yourself. So the problem that you have right now, the difficulty that you're having is not the real problem. Whole of last week, all of those reflections that we had, is not the real problem. The real problem is lack of love. You not loving yourself. So whenever you think you have a problem, whenever you think you have a disease, ask yourself, am I loving myself? Am I approving of myself in this situation? Where do I not love myself? Where do I feel that it is my fault, that I have done something wrong? What you'll find underneath all of the problems that you have is that you feel that you are at fault. Make a list this week. My encouragement is for you to start making a list of where you think you are at fault. What we're going to do on Thursday is we're going to be looking at doing some mental health cleaning. We're going to be looking at, okay, well, what are all the negative belief systems that I have about myself that I want to get rid of? Sometimes it's painful for us to throw away old childhood memories, isn't it? When you're cleaning up, we just moved to a beautiful place in Meudon, as many of you know, outside Paris. And some of the things were quite hard to get rid of, but it was important for me that I cleansed the area around myself. It was important for me that I let go. Now, it's quite painful for us to let go of things, but it is important. It is important for us that we let go of the old so that we can make new for the good. You cannot live in freedom if you don't love yourself. You cannot live in freedom if you think that you are at fault. When you break up with your boyfriend, what's the first thing that happens? No, it's my fault. If I was more. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, Connie, or you say your name, you say, I love, honor, accept, and approve of myself. What are the thoughts that come up? Do you think you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're not intelligent enough, you're not smart enough, you're not earning enough? What that implies is that you think that who you are is not good enough. So this is what I'd like you to do today, is I would like you to start, every time you hear a negative thought, I would like you to replace it with your name, and I'd like you to start saying to yourself, I love you, I honor you, I accept you, I approve of all of who you are. You see, because for so long we've been thinking these thoughts that we are not good enough. We've been criticizing ourselves. But now what we want to be doing is we want to be reprogramming. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this video, is because you are ready. You are ready to start living in freedom. And you are committed. And if you're committed, then set an alarm on your phone. I sometimes say to my clients, set an alarm on your phone for every hour, for once a day, for 2-3 times a day, whatever is the safest for you. And when the alarm goes off, you look at it and it says, I love, honor, accept, and approve of all of who you are. And we're going to start to reprogram those negative thoughts to thoughts of self-love. The problem that you see when you look in the mirror is not the real problem. The real problem is that we don't love ourselves. Are you committed to loving yourself this week? Give me a thumbs up. Acknowledge, admit to yourself and admit to people around you that you this week are committed to loving and approving and honoring yourself. Give me a thumbs up. Even better yet, give me a heart because you love yourself. If you love yourself, give me a heart now on this video. Excellent. I love you. I honor you. And I approve of all of who you are. We are in this journey together. We are connected. We are one. We are a community. We are together to support each other. That's why you're watching this video. That's why my elite guys have joined the elite group. That's why you're on the Thrive Being You Facebook group, is because we love each other and we support each other. And we know that this journey sometimes is not easy. But we want to create that safe space where we can love and support each other and honor each other. This is the safe space where you can begin to go deeper into loving and honoring who you are. So if you haven't already shown up on the Thrive Being You Facebook group, my elite guys, on the elite Facebook group, start doing Facebook Lives, start sharing. Guys, this is what I'm struggling with. When I look at myself in the mirror, this is what I think. Does anyone else feel the same? And you'll see that we are all one and we're all connected. If you're not sharing on the Facebook groups that I created, where are you sharing your journey? Who are you talking to? Because when you talk it becomes a reality. And when you talk it, you're beginning to say to the universe, universe, this is what I'm committed to. Are you committed to living in freedom? If you, like me, are committed to living in freedom, then I encourage you today to show up on the Facebook group and do a Facebook Live. Tell us, what have you been uncovering so far? What have you learned? What have you put into place? And what are the new tools that you're going to be putting forward into your life? I encourage you today to say, I love, honor, accept, and approve of myself as many times as you can. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day of honoring yourself, loving yourself, and approving of yourself. And I'll see you tomorrow, where we continue this journey of learning what tools can we put into place every day to love, honor, accept, and approve of who we are. Namaste. I love it. The light within me greets the light within you. That light within us is that energy of love. The energy of love within me